Hello foodie friends, we're back again after just a short break, and I decided to start this month out. We're not actually going to review a cookbook this time. We're going to do something a little different, but it's going to be really fun. So remember the times when you could go into a department store and you could also actually get a really good meal after your shopping was done? And I know the idea is still kind of floating around out there. I know Selfridges of London still has a really good restaurant, and there's also places like IKEA that kind of tried to have food with its hits and its misses. And then you have Walmart, who usually has some kind of like McDonald's or Subway inside that you could eat at. So while the idea is there, it's still not quite the same thing as what we used to have. And that's kind of what we're gonna look into for the next couple of episodes, because there used to be an awesome department store called Hudsons in Detroit, and it was one of the premier shopping that you could do in Detroit that also had a really good restaurant. So we're gonna look at two of their recipes, one for this week and one for the next week, and try to recreate some of that at home. Now in the comments below, let me know if you've ever been to Hudson's in Detroit or another Hudson's in a large city, or if you've actually eaten at another department store that had a good restaurant. For myself, in the 1980s, there used to be a Woolworths in the town I grew up in that also had a really cool counter, and it sold the best hamburgers, hot dogs, french fries, onion rings, and milkshakes that I think I've probably ever tasted as a kid. And one of the reasons is because the lady that worked there would have a large cast iron skillet, and if you ordered a hot dog, not only would she put butter in the skillet, but she'd also butter the hot dog bun and cook the hot dog bun in the hot dog in the same pan. And I don't know what it was about her making that hot dog, but I remember it being the best I'd had as a kid. And even today when I make a hot dog, I still put butter in the pan and butter the bun and toast it just like she did. Although it still doesn't quite taste just as good as that Woolworth hot dog. So let's go ahead and make our Canadian cheddar soup that was famous at Hudson's department store and see if we can recreate it and make it taste just as good.
Hudson's department store was first started by J.L. Hudson in 1881. It started out as a very modest store for men and boys' clothing and quickly grew to a whopping 25-story building by 1961, making it the tallest in the world. In terms of square footage, it was also the second largest store, only behind Macy's of New York City. They also had the added distinction of owning the world's largest flag. At 3,700 square feet, it was first hung on Armistice Day in 1923, and then later displayed several other days for special occasions. The original flag was replaced in 1949 and took up a full 7 stories of the outside of the building. The flag was hung a final time in 1976 for America's bicentennial and then donated to the Smithsonian. In 1924, Hudson's also decided to host Detroit's first Thanksgiving Day parade, and then hosted it every year after. And of course, this parade had to include Santa Claus and an entire floor dedicated to Christmas decorations and every toy a child could imagine. Hudson's was truly a one-stop shopping destination where you could get everything from household items to clothing to Christmas toys and everything in between. And speaking of being a one-stop destination, it really lived up to its name in having 5 restaurants that served thousands of meals daily. So you could go there in the morning when they opened and not have a reason to leave until they closed. Unfortunately, because of economic downturns in the 70s and 80s, Hudson's was eventually purchased by the Dayton Company, but even then, still slowly had to downsize. The downtown store eventually closed in 1983, and by 1998, the structure had been demolished. Now in 2000, Hudson was rebranded as the Target Corporation, And a lot of the satellite Hudson stores were rebranded as Marshall Field's, and then later they became a Macy's. And now, I don't know about you, but with 25 stories of things to explore and 5 restaurants offering awesome food, it's enough to make me wish I could go back in time just to see it. Alright, let's go ahead and get all of our vegetables ready. We're going to dice our onions and celery and carrot very fine. Now you can grate them with a box grater if you'd like to, but I just decided to do it this way because I just prefer it that way. And by the way, all our ingredients and measurements will be listed in the description box below. Now once you get that done, go ahead and melt your butter in a large pot. Add your vegetables and savor the smell of carrot, onion, and celery as they slowly saute in that melted butter. Now in a separate bowl, go ahead and mix your flour, cornstarch, paprika, and baking soda together. And give a whisk at the end to make sure it's all incorporated. Then add in stages to the pot, mixing each time. Now you're going to stir this constantly for about 1 minute. Now add your chicken broth and your milk very slowly. I did them one at a time and stirred with each addition until fully incorporated. It will start to thicken, and then comes the cheese. I use mostly Cabot, but you can use your favorite sharp cheddar brand. And now it's time to start shredding. And remember, any piece that falls off the block gets eaten immediately. Now you may think that's a lot of cheese, but wait, there's more, and it all goes into the pot. Add slowly in batches, allowing it to melt completely before adding the next handfuls. The smell is absolutely wonderful and savory. Now you can season it with salt and pepper, and you're almost ready for soup. And now for some added good flavor, I cubed some leftover bread, drizzled it with olive oil and salt, and then toasted it in my oven. And now we're ready for some savory winter eating.
Okay, we're done. Now this says to serve it piping hot, so let's just go ahead and dig in, just in case it turns back into a block of cheese. Okay. Ooh, I'm gonna try mine with a crouton too. Oh, the crouton makes it even better.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead. This is actually way better than I expected. I mean, I'm a cheese lover anyway, but you know, when you hear just plain cheese soup, you know what I mean? You're not really like all that excited about it. But because they said it was so famous in Hudson's, you know, I really wanted to try it just to see, well, what was it so famous for? And it is really good.
It does. It has a really like rounded flavor, even though like it's mostly just cheese.
Yeah, and I want to kind of keep eating it, but you know, and you know, the bitters, now I don't know if that would have affected the taste as much as only 2 little drops that you put in.
For the whole pot,
according to that whole pot. So, since we don't, you know, like mix cocktails, I didn't want to buy like a whole bottle, just to use 2 drops of something. And, you know, a lot of people, on the forum that I found this recipe was like, it didn't really
change the flavor.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you can do without it if you want to. I wonder though if it would have added like a more aromatic flavor to it, that kind of thing. But by itself, like even without the 2 drops of bitters, it holds its own.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, I would think of this as like maybe not a meal by itself necessarily, but like if you have a sandwich, it's a perfect pairing with any kind of sandwich.
Oh my gosh, yeah. For a winter like lunch, this is perfect.
Or panini kind of sandwich or something. Like it would be the perfect with that. Or also like a perfect base for another soup of some sort, like a broccoli soup or
and you were
like
just
a chicken
saying
and cheese soup kind of thing. You know what I mean?
That would be really good.
Yeah, like it would be this is like the perfect place to start for that. You know what I mean? Something
because as I was cooking this, I told Mitch, I said, hey, I just got a whiff of Big Boy's restaurant.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I said, hurry up and Google, was there a cheese soup at Big Boy's?
Yeah.
And sure enough, they have a broccoli cheese soup. And then all of a sudden, all these memories came back to me. So as a kid going to Big Boy's in the 80s and early 90s, I used to hate broccoli, but the one way Mom could get it into me is by taking me to Big Boy's and getting their cheddar broccoli soup. And man, was it good. Because, as I was smelling this, I was like, oh, Big Boys, where's, So I could see where, like, we were kind of discussing what do we do because it tastes awesome.
Yeah.
By itself. But after like a few days, it makes a big pot, you can see over here. Probably about 7 to 8 cups of soup, I'm guessing. So when it's just 2 people, we were kind of discussing like, well, after a few days, you kind of get, you don't want to keep eating it. Yeah, you want to switch it up. Wouldn't it be awesome? You could definitely make Big Boy's broccoli and cheddar soup.
Oh yeah,
I think
would be
with
an
this,
excellent place to start.
Yeah,
and all you broccoli and throw it in.
Yeah, you don't have just like microwave it and put it in there. You've got broccoli cheese soup.
Yeah.
We were also thinking that you could also use this in casseroles.
Oh yeah.
So if you want to make like I know there's a chicken and rice and cheese casserole.
Yeah.
That I really like. This would be awesome to pour on top of there. So this
a lot of those that call for like a cream of mushroom soup.
Yeah.
You could actually substitute this and take out some of the cheese
because it's
yeah.
really thick. I mean, you don't really need to do a whole lot to it. You've already got your, cornstarch and your flour. So it's kind of just begging to be made into a casserole, I think. So, if you're going to make this recipe or if you're thinking about it and then you're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with like 8 cups of cheese soup, it's actually more versatile than you would think going into it. So, even if like you're just 2 people or whatever, or just one person, don't be scared of it. Go ahead and make it, and then just like you've
experiment a little bit.
Yeah, you've got a base to make maybe a week's worth of recipes out of this if you really want to.
Yeah.
So, okay. Hudson's is one for the win.
Yeah.
I would have definitely it shut down before I was able to actually go there. I just don't remember it at all.
Right.
I don't even remember the building. I've, been through Detroit, obviously, but I don't remember that particular building. I just remember like the Motown Museum and the Detroit Museum and different things like that. But this is something that if it would have been around when I was a kid, I would have ordered this and I would have really liked it.
Yeah, definitely.
I can see why it's famous from Hudson's. So there you go. I really hope you enjoyed this and I hope you try it and then experiment with it. And if you do, let me know what the results were below and what kind of recipe you use with it. And just enjoy it by itself. Yeah. It's just great. Sprinkle on some croutons and you got a great soup.
Yeah.
And so stick around for next week because we're going to visit Hudson's again because they actually have 2 really famous recipes. And this next one, I'll give you a hint. It's a salad, but it's not, I don't know. It's named that loosely.
Barely a salad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not the kind of salad that springs into your mind when you hear the word salad. This is basically a dinner with like a bed of leaves under it. So we're gonna go ahead and try that, and we're gonna have 2 people on the show that actually was in Hudson's, went shopping there, and ate there.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and one of them actually ate the recipe we're going to make next week. And she ordered it from there and said it was awesome.
Okay.
So that's going to be really cool. So stick around for that. And thanks for watching this week. We'll see you next week. Bye.
If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button for future videos. In the meantime, here are 2 videos you may enjoy. Thanks for watching.